All right, what's up, guys? It's Isaac here at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. I have your pre-owned bike of the week, this 2019 Harley-Davidson Softail Fat Bob 114. So if you're looking for a Harley-Davidson to rip, this one is probably it. This one's super hard to beat because it's aggressive styling, it's an aggressive stance, it's in a relative medium aggressive riding position, and it's just so much fun to rip on. But let's go ahead and show you some of the features on this bike. So this one here is a 2019. It is pre-owned. It's mostly stock so far as in most areas except for the intake and exhaust. So you'll see the intake is this dual cone S&S intake, stainless. I mean, it's sharp. I mean, look at the welding. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is cool. Bright red filters. I mean, this is a cool looking filter. It really matches the two in, two cylinder, and then two out. So I kind of like what it's got going on here. But then you have the 2-2. This looks like the stock header, and then it has Vance Hines slip-on exhaust. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool. Still gives it that aggressive kind of tracker stance. So with that upswept exhaust, just look at this thing. So I mean, with the upswept exhaust, this slightly, almost a little more dirt oriented, almost something like that. So I mean, almost looks like the tires on the Pan Americas. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you have inverted suspension, dual rotors, and a unique. If you remember the Dyna Fat Bobs, they had the dual headlights, but this is one single large LED light bar. It's a 114 Milwaukee 8, so you still get the oil cooler up on the front. I mean, it's black denim. The stock seat is really good on these bikes. It's real nice and grippy on them. That's already hot. That's not gonna be fun. Let's see. Yeah, I'll show you what the cockpit looks like. Yeah, this thing is an absolute ripper. This thing's gonna be so much fun to ride. So let's go ahead and show you. Oh, and this guy. So this is also one of the few Softails that actually came stock with a preload adjustment that's on the outside. So you don't have to pull the seat off to adjust the preload. You're going to throw passenger on or throw some luggage on. You need to set the preload right. Just reach down and adjust that and try not to hit your hand on the exhaust there. But yeah, other than that, let's go ahead and show you what it's like. So here it is, the 2019 Harley-Davidson Softail Fat Bob. It is the 114. There were 107 versions of this one, but fortunately they offered it in the 114, and then it was pretty much, I think it was only 114s before it was discontinued. I think it was discontinued, I think this year might be the first year that we're not seeing new Fat Bobs. But if I had to pick one, is it cammed? I think it's got a cam in it. So one easy way to tell sometimes if there's cams is whether or not it was adjustable push rods. And the easy way to tell that is sort of where the collars are. So if they're a little bit higher up, then it's probably your stock push rods or just standard push rods, which you'll typically see those with bigger motor work. But if you don't have to take the heads off like you would on a cam job, a lot of times just little adjustable push rods, something you can just squeeze in there. Usually those will go in. An easy way to tell that is the collars are usually a little bit more about midway. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if it did have a cam in it. Another easy way to tell is how does it chop. And this bike did sound really good, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it up here for you. I think it is cammed. But yeah, I mean, listen to this thing. Whew, hear that bark? If I had to pick one Softail to go rip on, it'd be this one right here. So we're gonna get a rip on it. Let's see what we got going on. Oh yeah, it does have the security system, so it looks like it has two keys with it. So you got a spare. Yeah, hard key for the neck, or if you got any bags put on it. And then you've got the little keyless ignition, so you don't have to put a key in to start it. It's all proximity, which is nice. Love the fenders on these two. They're nice and high. I almost thought about trying to put one of those on my Sport Quad, but I didn't know what to do with the tail, the license plate, and the tail light, so I didn't. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. Enough talk about it. Let's go ride this thing. Oh, grippy seat, probably already hot. It's not that bad. It's a little warm. It is forwards, which actually kind of work for this bike. Oh man, I just got off a breakout, and it was, so I rode a breakout before this, and it was very, you were more on top of it. We're more on top of that bike, but this one I just feel so locked into. Man, I love the Softail breakout. Man, if I did these might rip better than the lowriders. It's tough. It's a tough call. I'd really have to. I guess I'll just have to take them both to a mountain weekend and run it up and back with each one and see which one I like better. But the suspension's great on this thing. It feels good. I did not check to see if it was stock suspension in the rear. We'll see how it does. And then oh yeah, it was stock. If it had that little piece there I showed you. The cool thing with this bike is, so for a Softail, you really don't have to do much. They did pretty much everything you need to do on a Softail, or at least on the Fat Bobs. Biggest things to do on a Fat Bobs are exhaust, and they did an intake and exhaust, let it breathe a little bit better and easier, and man, does it rip. And the Fords are pretty comfortable. Yeah, this thing is an absolute blast. I'm just perched up so well. The intake, I mean, if I bring my knees right on it, they're on it, but it's not bad. I could work with it. You heard the chirping it did. Oh, I've got almost a full tank of gas too. Shoot. There's so much to talk about on these because they're so different. They're so much fun to ride. I'm gonna give that car a good berth. Drop it in second because they handle good. I gotta drop it way back. Let's see. So, welcome to stage, or the first part of the test where we test our acceleration. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let that car get way on up there. We're about 2,500 RPMs in second gear, and pick our gap. I had to get off the. Oh my gosh! The acceleration is there. I mean, 114. You got torque. Yeah, she's breathing good. Oh man, so how's it feel on the highway? Very similar to the breakout. The breakout I think was maybe a little more stable, just because I mean it's low and raked. But this one, I mean, change lanes a little bit easier. I can pass cars a little bit easier if I need to. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. It is a 3.3 gallon tank, I think, 3.1, 3.3. So it's not your standard 5 gallon tank you get on the Softails. So it definitely makes this bike look a little bit cleaner, a little bit classier. And you can drain this tank quick if you ride it hard. If you ride it like it wants to be ridden. I mean, an easy way to tell that it wants to be ridden like that is A, how it feels, but also that's not a speedo, that's your tack. Love an analog tack. I really love that they put this gauge on the bars on the stock lowrider S's. Oh my gosh. Can I make this light? No. Great braking. Oh my gosh, I love these bikes. It's cammed. It's got to be cammed. Hear that chop? Yeah, I don't think you typically bark like that without a cam. So I'm gonna do some research, see what cam's in it, and I'll put that in the comments for you guys. Man, I love these bikes. Single side asymmetrical tank. Look at the Harley graphic. Little ghost graphic here on the flat denim black. And we've got our little gas cap here on the right. Biggest downside, doesn't have cruise control, and since it's throttled by wire, not cable, throttled by wire. It is throttled by wire, meaning that it's electronics. It's a wire that goes through there. It's not the cables like you see on the breakouts and the old Dynas. So I don't have like a little thumb set screw. It's a digital piece that you put at the bottom underneath the turn signal on the left. So I think the lowrider's got it, probably handles better, but this one just, you know when something doesn't handle quite as good and it feels like you're supposed to, like you have to kind of muscle it around a little bit more. This one feels like it wants you to do that, you know? Like it's not like it handles bad, but it wants you to push it. Past the truck? No. See that little... I'm gonna come around him. What? That thing was... did you see how quick we got around that thing? Just a quick roll on. I mean, and then I put it in fourth just to cruise. Man, this bike is fun. All right, so acceleration is there. Highway speed, we never really talked about that. I've got to turn right up here, so it'd be rude to jump in front of him. Highway, it did fine. I mean, there's no windshield on it, no fairing. I think there are windshields you can put on this bike. I know Memphis Shades has one that fits around this headlight. So I mean, there's plenty of options. Probably some of the best customized Softails I've seen have actually been have actually been, or some of the best performance Softails I've seen have been Fat Bobs. Like Cruisy Originals, there was actually a guy pretty local to us that won their giveaway bike a long time ago. And that was a Softail Fat Bob. That thing is mean. And then you've got some of the Fast Life Softails. We've seen a couple of those have actually come through Tobacco Road. I mean, they're so cool. Those are such cool bikes. But now we're getting into the next stage of our test, which is going to be how well it does in the curves. And this seat, the stock Softail seat, the stock Fat Bob seat, is so good. It's a little bit of a step up. It's the right amount of comfort and softness, and it's got the right amount of grippiness to it. It's so good. This is a good stance. Now, obviously, if I was gonna be, riding all around and put cruise control on it, yeah, it's a little bit taller risers wouldn't be bad. But for the riding that this bike wants to be done, you got this nice wide bar, and so it gives you plenty of leverage on that big old wheel. The rims look great on this bike. You just feel how it dips right in. Let's see. And we're not even going that hard on it. It's just wanting to go. Man, this thing is cool. Would it do better with mid controls? I mean, if you did mid controls and taller risers, I could see it, but I think the light clam style ergonomics I have, I guess it's not quite clam style. It's more of a stretched neutral, or more of an oyster than a clam, I guess. Let's slow down for this construction here. I mean, yeah, the braking's great, the acceleration's great. Hear that? man said nice ride. Look at that. When you're taking a 20-minute ride and you're already getting the, yo, that's a sick ride, then you know you're doing it right. Had to give him a little bark, let him know what this thing sounds as good as it looks. Ah, man. Gosh, these Softails are so much fun. And they absolutely rip. Let's see, I'm at 3,500 RPMs. Is that the sweet spot of these? Yeah. Man. All right. Another cool thing is that this bar does have easy adjustment to it, so you can see they actually have the degrees that you have the bar angled at on this. You can really get it dialed in and get it set exactly where you want it. Again, easy control. It's actually the same control layout as that 14 breakout we took. Biggest difference between it and that is it doesn't say trip. It's got the little cycles. I don't know what you would really call that design. Yeah, so what are we looking at? So analog tack, love it. There's my digital speed. There's my fuel gauge above it. Miles on the bike, just over 3,200, about 3,300 miles right now. Trip A, trip B, fuel range, 128 miles of range based on with maybe a 3/4 full tank. There's my clock. Back on my RPMs. I don't really need digital RPMs if I have analog RPMs. So back to the miles. And I think it shows me the gear I'm in as well. I'll look for that here in a second. Yeah, it's there in the bottom right of the screen. See it right there. Ooh, don't love that truck loaded down. It's got straps on it. Hopefully he's not making the turn we are. If we've got it wide open, we might open it up a little bit more. This right here. I think we do. Let's get it. So yeah, this thing is so much fun. This thing just feels right. For a Softail you're ripping on, this is it. Man, this makes me just want to strap a duffel bag to the back and go hit the mountains with it or something. Daggone. And they look so good. I'm usually not a fan of the dual cone breathers like this, but it looks pretty good. This one looks good. It kind of complements that higher exhaust there, or like the fact that it's still a 2-to-2 kind of complements that pretty well. So if it is cammed, one test that's good to do is see how smooth is it at the bottom end. It's still kind of smooth down here. They're less than 2,000 RPMs. Cammed or not, I mean it's putting out great power. It's so man, it's doing so good. Oh gosh, what else can we talk about on this thing? So we showed you. Now we're showing you, of course, the next stage of just kind of how is it. You know, ripping it wide open. That's fun, but we want to see you know, how is it to ride when you have to have it a little bit more tame? It's not bad at all. I mean, I'm doing about 35 miles an hour, third gear, about just over 2,000 RPMs. So you can probably downshift, but it's doing all right here. So shoot, I mean, this thing rips. I will put it in a second. Yeah, so and it is Softail, so you can do light touring with it pretty easily. It's nice and smooth. You don't really feel much vibration on you, just enough so you feel a little bit up through the bars, of course. That's the biggest spot, but you can tell it's a motorcycle, and you can tell it's on and running, but it's not, you know, it's nothing bad at all. It's not gonna knock your teeth out. And there's a lot of people that have actually put more street-oriented tires on these things, so they really get in there good. These more off-road, they're not really off-road oriented tires. It's more, yeah, they'll probably hook up in the gravel a little bit better. But this bike does have ABS, it looks like, as well. So, you know, it'll hook up pretty good. Probably a little bit better than gravel, these tires, but I think they're going to help you more aesthetically than anything. But the road tires definitely makes it a lot more aggressive. But I have been seeing a lot of folks ripping on these things with street tires. I mean, they stick, they run them hard. So, and it is the same rear tire size as most of the narrow primary Softails. So when I say narrow primary, so wide primary Softail would be, you know, the breakout and the Fat Boy, whereas narrow, you know, that's most of the other ones. So Lowrider, Fat Bob, Sport Glide. I think the Street Bob is the same primary, but it's a more narrow tire setup. Same with the Softail Standard. So this is a good bike to go ride. Yeah, like I said, if there was a Softail, I could just go hop on and just run it hard, wide open all day. I mean, it'd be this one. It'd be this one for sure. Because they just feel, the Softail, or the Lowriders feel a little more, I hate to say classy. You know, yeah, you know, they feel a little more classy ripping through the twisties on something like that. Whereas on this bike, it just feels like a little more raw power. Like it just wants to be just wide open all the time, you know. So it is a absolute blast of a motorcycle. There's a train. We're gonna have to wait for the train. That's exciting. You see it? There it goes. R.J. Corman Railroad Company. So we might shut the bike off for that because it is a little bit warm. Not terrible. But yeah, I mean, it is air-cooled motorcycle with an oil cooler, so it's a little bit warm. One thing I'm glad they came out with is they actually came out with the heat deflectors for the Softails, so you don't, you know, particularly if you're a little more blessed in the thigh range, then, you know, you don't have your thighs rubbing up on that motor head too much. Ooh, maybe I can get a picture of the train with the Fat Bob. That could go hard. Let's see if we can get that. Ooh, a bunch of state police out here. Exciting, or Capitol Police at least. Yeah, so the suspension definitely feels a little more Set up for a little bit tighter, a little bit set up for more street riding than Lake Wheeler road riding or off-road riding. Pretty much the same thing. And the throttle is, it's very not reactive. It's not touchy at all, but it's very responsive, which is really nice. It's a really good blend of responsiveness, but not too touchy. That, or maybe I just have a really steady, really steady throttle hand. Yeah, so this is your 2019 Harley-Davidson Softail Fat Bob with a 114, maybe a cam. I'm gonna check for you, and a S&S intake. This thing is, as you saw, an absolute blast to ride. If you want a motorcycle that's fun to ride and you can go take it anywhere you want pretty much, then this is the bike to come see. So this is it. If you have any more questions about the Fat Bob, or you have a Fat Bob and you want to tell us how great yours is, then yeah, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think about this and how it compares to the other Softails. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you out here soon.